Today I'm going to talk about a detail that's going to help improve your side kick. So one of the things that I've noticed about a whole lot of people's side kicks is that they are actually more of a roundhouse kick than a side kick. So let me talk about why I say that. When people are doing this, quite often I see this as their side kick. Now watch as I do that slow again. One more time slow. So the way that that kick is moving is it's coming more around. It's actually using a lot more quads than it is using glutes. Now when we do a side kick, I honestly want you to think of this as a stomp. So when I stomp, I'm going to stomp the ground right here. Now when I did that, what I'm going to be doing is as I raise up, I'm going to be using my quads here to extend, and I'm going to be using my glutes here to extend the hip downwards. You need to be using both of those. Whenever people come this direction and they point their knee directly forward and they have this foot way back here, there's not much room for the glutes to be used. They're actually almost completely straight at this point. And it really just comes like this, using mostly this roundhouse kick motion, using the quads to help extend at the knee. So what I want you to try to do is use the sideline as a reference point. So let me talk about what the sideline is. If I'm to point or to face completely off to the side, and you're looking at me this direction, I will hold my arms up here. This right here, imagine that there's this line cutting my body in half. This is what I call the sideline. Now, as I'm up in my side kick chambered position, I want my heel on my sideline or slightly in front. I don't want it way up here, but I want it slightly in front or on my sideline. This, if you notice, I'm going to drop the angle downwards. You can see I'm in that stomping position where my glutes are stretched and then my quads are in the stretched position. So now I'm going to angle it outwards, and as I flex both of these muscle groups at the same time, my leg moves in a much more linear fashion. You can see my heel follows that sideline, as opposed to this, which is going to be moving in a much more circular fashion, like this. And it's only really using one major muscle group, our quads. So we want to add both of those muscle groups in. So when I bring it up here, and then I kick out. Now another thing I want you to try to do is I want you to try to have this little bit of a hip pop in there. That's going to, again, be using more glutes. When you can do that, it's going to add a lot more power, and you also get this twisting power. Like when you do a punch, you twist over at the end. That's kind of like the same thing, but for our side kick. So as I chamber and I start to extend out, at this last second, I'm going to really pop my hip. Now when I pop my hip, I want to make sure that my shoulder does not go in front of that sideline. I want to keep it on that sideline. Here, I get to add that twisting power to that kick. It's going to make it a much stronger kick. So again, remember, as you're going into that chambered position, heel on or slightly in front of that sideline. As you're extending out at that last second, pop that hip over, but keep your shoulder and nose pointed directly towards your target. One last little detail is going to be in this foot. It's going to have a partial rotation into the chambered position and a full rotation as I extend out. So I raise up, I go into my partial rotation of this base leg, and then as I kick out, notice my toes pointed all the way away from my kick. So I want you to try adding those tips into your side kick for a much stronger side kick.